Here is my personal information, and this is the overview of my further slides. Quickly go through the points. Introduction: Elizabethan beliefs, the great chain of being. The great chain of being is my main topic of this presentation. Example of Shakespeare's work, The Great Chain of Being and the Problem of Evil, The Great Chain of Being 2D, and my work cited. And first of all, we go through the introduction. The great chain of being was first systemized by the Neoplatonist philosopher Plotinus. Plotinus was a very big follower of Plato and Aristotle. And here I quote the uh, Arthur Lovejoy's Arthur Lovejoy's books quotation that is very related with this history of the great chain of being. And now we are go through the belief of Elizabethan people. Elizabethan believed that God set out everything and order for everything in the universes. This was known as the great chain of being. On the earth, God created a social order for everyone and choose whether you belong. If you are a poor person, if you are a rich person, that is the choice of God, not is your choice. This concept is that, in other words, the king or queen was the in charge because God put there. Here we can say if king and queen are put there because God, it's God choice, and it's happened the king is bad or queen is bad, then we people are accept them because God are chosen. That it is a very problematic thing. This meant disobeying the monarch was a sin, which was handy for keeping people in their place. Here the picture of the great chain of being. There is a God is the top level in this picture. Angels, after God, angels are nearest to the God. Kings and queens, they are the third position, and humans are positioned in middle. Animals, sea creatures, and other living things are there. And the plants are coming in chain after animal, and non-living things, there are the other non-living things. And last one is hell. Punishments are given in, and there is a concept of heaven and hell in the Christianity. If you are doing a very bad thing, and then you are punished in the hell. Here are the topics that we are seeing in the great chain of the uh, being. God, there is the existence, life, will. Here the word will is used for action. According to Christianism, there is a free will is given by God to everyone. Everyone can choose their path if there is wrong and there is bad path. And if we are related to Hinduism, then we can say the karma concept in the Hinduism. There are bad karma and good karmas are there. And here the if we are talking about human, then human are not immortal. They are in the middle of human is there, then we can say they have uh, some qualities of god and angel and some of animal and plants. So it should be good if they are balanced between that. From the basic description of a great chain of being as vertical mortal hierarchy, it becomes possible to sketch the outline of a presupal immoral hierarchy. During Elizabethan time, people believed that everyone and everything was arranged in a certain way by God or their angels. Indeed, each link in the great chain of being represented distinct category of living creator from the other matter. Thus, each being in the chain possessed all the attributes of what we below plus additional superior attribute. Uh, Here, I would like to connect the example of Shakespeare's work Macbeth. Here we can see the influence of the great chain of being. Not here. the word not listening to Shakespeare, but to the ideas of the time, which will settle in matter for him as a priority. In general, every writer's work is influenced by their time and what by their surrounding, what we are doing and what we are telling and writing and speaking. This is by our surrounding. So our surrounding affects us a lot. Here the picture of Lady Macbeth, the picture of the sleepless night, and Lady Macbeth killed the king, and because of his ambition. And when she killed, at that time she want to be a queen, and he want to become her, want to become see her his her husband as a king. And after the killed the king, she is falls in the depression, and here we can see the God punished her, according to influence the great chain of God punished her. She get sleepless nights, and she can't able to sleep, and she roaming with candle at night. And at the end of the play she committed suicide. According to Christianity, suicide is unforgivable thing, that if someone is committed suicide, then they never uh, God never forgive them. So at the end of she committed suicide, that means her her sin is unforgivable. And other characters are also suffering. So we can't say the ambition is bad, but Shakespeare write this type of work because the influence of the era. The Here I quote King James once quotation that he given in Parliament. I quote: "The state of monarchy is the most supreme thing upon earth. For kings are not only God's lieutenant upon earth and sit upon God's throne, but even by God Himself they are called gods." Unquote. Here is a social hierarchy in the Macbeth. Here, in Macbeth, king is top level. The great chain of being and the problem of evil. The ancient and medieval view that this creation was ordered into the great universal hierarchy greatly informed Christian theology for over 1,000 years. Here are two premises given. Major premises: God created everything that exists, and minor premises is that evil exists. Therefore, we can say the God is the source of evil. But when we are tell this type of thing, then religious person sentiments are heard, and they probably oppose us. But here the quote of that I would like to, so I quote: I form the light and create darkness, I make peace and create evil, I the Lord do all these things. Unquote. This quote is give the support to that we are talk in previously. The great chain of being today. Enlightenment thinkers also rebelled against the last vestiges of feudal hierarchy by creating secular governmental structure that vest power into the hands and ordinary citizen rather the divinity ordins monarch. At that time, there is a feudal system in that time that we might broke by the democracy, but we cannot say we are exactly. So there is in right now we have also the difference between rich people and poor people. It's too much. And in 19th century, Darwin's theory come out. We can say the Darwin's theory is upon the natural selection explained. When he released his theory, at that time priests and other religious person are in afraid, and they don't like the Darwin's theory, because after the coming Darwin's theory, people are coming in, people know the reality of the world. But we can say they you religious people can use the fear as the fear as the control to the people, and now their weapon is broken by Darwin's theory, so they don't like it. Even so, the great chain of being still informal popular thinking, uh, people who intense sadness at the stray cat's death, and they easily kill mosquito. So so we can say some critics have suggested that latent notions of the great chain of being still inform our exploitation of the environment. As say further, as I say here, right now we have the difference between poor and rich people. That is a very big gap between those. So this is the example of exploitation that we can also see in the great theory of being. Here is my work cited. And thank you. Now, if you have any question, please ask.
Yes, I have a question. What happens when the great chain of being is broken?
According to me, if the great chain of being is broken, then there is no problem at all. But when we are doing this at that time, other religious people, and they are might be hurted and they oppose to us, and it's a complicated situation, and creates the conflict between the religious people, and they say you are atheist. But if we are changing we are breaking the things for to come out from orthodoxy and other rigidity of religion, then it's not a bad thing, we can break it.
So Rajeshwari ba, in the great chain of being, if we erase the third part of king and queen, how does it? How does history or literature came out according to you?
If we are erase the concept of king and queen, that we can't say that we are happy. If I then at that replace we are replace other thing in the king and queen, that doesn't mean the replacement of king and queen is the short at the problem, but we may have the other thing at that. Okay, thank you.